Hello and welcome to this special edition of Indianomics. The first ever meeting of the GST Council has drawn to a close. All states sat down as equals with the central government to arrive at a structure for the landmark indirect tax reform. Everyone is in agreement that services will be collected entirely by the central government, but tax on goods will be divided. States will collect taxes from companies with turnover less than 1.5 crore rupees. The centre will collect taxes from companies with more than 1.5 crore rupees turnover. On the show today, we will get you some key reactions from two important state finance ministers. We will also be speaking to them about how the revenue neutral rate will pan out. And then the man who actually fathered the original version of GST, the value-added tax, Mr. Yashwant Sinha, will join us to discuss the politics of the GST. Well, soon after the meeting got over, I spoke to two state finance ministers, as I told you, Haseeb Drabu and Isaac Thomas, who were at that meeting. Haseeb Drabu of J&K and Isaac Thomas of Kerala. I started off by asking Drabu if there is any consensus on the GST revenue neutral rate. Listen.
I think there is broad consensus that we'll try and fix the rates next time around.
Okay.
But base has been more or less fixed.
Okay.
It's also more or less certain that it will be audited accounts of the ring. Plus the suggestion that the mechanism of compensation would have to be in terms of some kind of a GST compensation fund, which will be a drawdown facility like a wage and mean advances. Okay. Otherwise, it will cause cash management problems for state governments. I think that's one part of the story that we decide today.
In that case, the fund will have to come up before May of next year.
Yes, it will have to come before May of next year, and it's kind of a fund that depends on the compensation needs that it'll be utilized. Okay. It'll be more like a facility, right? Okay. It's not going to kind of be a compensation grant-like thing.
No, your states have no problem with the fact that service tax will be assessed only by the centre at the moment, and manufacturing SSCs under 1.5 crore turnover come to the state.
Now there was this whole debate about dual control that the states had been arguing that 1.5 crore turnover and less than that will be in states' domain and above that dual control. But then eventually what's happened is that more or less a reflection of the status quo and nature of the business for the moment of transition into GST. So what has happened really is service tax remains the exclusive domain of the centre for some time, till there's enough training, there's adequate capacity building in the states, and eventually the idea is that the states will do 1.5 crore less than that. The states tax, service tax, would be done exclusively by the states. That's the intent. Yeah.
Haseeb, if you can stay on for a minute more, we have Thomas Isaac, the Finance Minister of Kerala, also joining us. Mr. Isaac, you are happy with today's conclusions. Any comments on the assessment, the exemptions, the division of dual control on service tax and on manufacturing?
I am unhappy with the fact that the protected rate for the revenue compensation could not be finalized in this meeting. But the present compromise worked out regarding the control is okay with me. I have no intention to recruit new personnel to collect service tax. So I find that it's acceptable.
Okay. But the projection has not yet been decided. Haseeb Drabu was telling us, sir, it's either it will be the best of 3 years, or it will be taking out the outliers and taking the median. Why would there be so much of a heartburn over it?
Oh, because central government wants the average of last 3 years, which has been a very bad years for these state government revenues. So that then they moved away from that. They want to have a pan-Indian rate of 12% applicable to all states. It's totally unacceptable to us. So that was the saying.
Okay. Haseeb, any thoughts on what Dr. Isaac is saying?
No, I mean, I broadly agree with Isaac. The point really is, we were there to get the meeting. The point is that across 30 states, to find 3 years which are consistent for all states, like in the case of J&K, We had a flood affected last year.
Okay.
The rate of tax was 0%. Now, if I take average of 3 years, I'll come down to some 9%. So we have to have some sophisticated measure. It's more like something like working out the output gaps in an economy.
I agree. But if you take out the outliers and took 3 of the...
So that's what. So we're trying to work some thumb rules, and if I do that, it improves to 32% for J&K. But there may be some other states which will have a problem of that other kind. So it has to understand the complexity just in terms of numbers. 30 states have to agree to one base year, which should be a normal base year. Then work out the rates for it. So you don't want to complicate a system which people don't understand. I think we are working towards a situation where it shall get resolved in the next meeting. Okay.
Dr. Isaac, I think projection, rate of growth will be another contentious issue, or you think that will be resolved?
That is going to be, I think, a serious contentious issue. The center wants to minimize the compensation. In fact, Haseeb Drabu has called it a shoddy piece of work. It was a very summary, loose statement about growth of revenue and so on, and over the envelope calculation, what would be, how it should be calculated. See, either you go for full body into a detailed econometric of the rate of growth of revenue for the last 10 years or so, and then project it in the future. Or if you want a very simple formula, very well, take the last 5 years or 6 years and take an average of rate of growth of the 3 years. I think all the states, I don't think states are going to compromise on this. So on this issue, the consensus eludes us.
Okay. Well, Haseeb, you expect both these will be resolved in the September 30th meeting?
Yeah, I don't see a problem, honestly. I mean, I don't see a problem. I'm a little more optimistic than Ajit. Though, as he said, I mean, I thought it was a very shortly produced document. But I think the real stickler will be the R&R.
Yes, I was just coming to that.
We are nowhere near consensus on that. We are just trying to kind of go over the easy bits first, which is fine, because you're trying to build a consensus and reduce the comfort, discomfort zone of various states.
No, but Haseeb, on that, Dr. Isaac is actually more optimistic. Yesterday, he told CNBC TV 18 that he is okay with 18 or 20%. Didn't you, Dr. Isaac?
Well, what I'm saying is that a standard rate of 20% is okay, 18, 20% okay, as long as you have a higher band. See, what I'm arguing for, I don't know what has it been. It's a 3-tier band where you will have the standard rate where vast majority of the commodities will be in between 18 and 20, a higher band where the luxury and consumer durables would come, which would suffer a higher rate. And the necessities, much lower rate than what even Arvind Subramaniam suggested.
Okay. Haseeb, your thoughts on this?
No, I think both of us come from states that will benefit from the GST eventually as and when we get there. But in terms of other states who are loser states, producer states who will have good income, rate will become an issue. I think there will be a big debate on that, and it's expectedly so. Okay.
So just to wind up, you think the compensation rate and base years and average base to work out from will be decided on 30th, Haseeb?
Base has been decided.
Yeah, base is 15-16, yes.
So
the rate of growth.
About the rates, I think it will be decided, yes.
Okay.
Once you look at various options, then you can do it.
And November 22nd, you're optimistic by November 22nd you will get an R&R?
I'm not so sure.
Okay. Dr. Isaac?
Well. See, states are, in fact, almost surrendered a large part of the fiscal autonomy. Center has to be sensitive to the states are made and take a step forward to have a compromise on the rate, both of the revenue growth as well as the revenue neutral rate.
All right. So that's two powerful finance ministers telling you, one, that the rate at which the GST will be assumed to grow for the states could be a matter of a bone of contention that at any rate should be decided on September 30th, with the more difficult decision on what will be the standard rate and what will be the revenue neutral rate, those two are, it's up in the air till November 22nd. Let us see if cooperative federalism works. But on that note, we'll take a break and come back with someone who made cooperative federalism work, who is literally the father of the VAT, which is the precursor to the GST. Former Finance Minister Yashwant Sinha to discuss the politics of GST.